Yeah, thank you, Lucy. I'm very happy to be back. I think last time we saw each other was in Utrecht, 2019. So I'm very happy to be back. And this time I would like to speak about the applicability of the finding. I remember that in 2019 I was presenting the research per se, because what we are going to dialogue about today is founded on research. So it's based on research, and in the precious 30 minutes to come, I would like to give you a glimpse into a specific case that we found was intriguing. So intriguing is exactly the description of tricky, because you know I'm based in Austria, and the word tricky, I wanted to just clarify that. The title, A Tricky Case of Presence, of course, it's translated from German into English, and because I'm based in Austria, I'm speaking German here, I just wanted to make sure that we have a common understanding of what we mean by tricky. So tricky is something that is intriguing, that is leaving us with a sense of wonderment, and so there's more to look into something than what we might think there is. And so the case that we would like to dialogue, or I invite you to dialogue with me about, is presence as being in the bubble, cocooning, as it was described by some of the research participants, the coaches, who we interviewed after the research to give also their point of view and perspectives on the processes that they were having with their clients in the coaching engagement. And today, so I would like to invite you to dialogue with me about the beauty and the beast of being in the bubble, the beauty in terms of the good elements, the beautiful elements, the positive elements of being in a bubble, cocooning, and the beast is the downside, the more shady things of being in a bubble when it comes to working with clients, and how it actually generates presencelessness. Before we get started, I would like to invite us. I know that this is late into the day today already, and you have had a long day of listening to a lot of precious information and sharing, and you did a lot of work. So I would like to take a moment, just a moment of taking 3 breaths to arrive and be present with me, and also I with you, because I'm noticing that I'm quite excited about being here today. So the first breath is about letting go of what has happened so far, trying to leave behind, for now, leave behind what has happened so far today. 1 breath. A second breath to just be aware that we are here and now. And the third breath to arrive with anticipation, but not with expectations. Okay. So, as I have mentioned just earlier, what we are going to dialogue about today, or what I hope that we will be dialoguing about today, is based on a piece of research that has just been recently published in the peer-reviewed journal Frontiers in Psychology, co-authored with Fabian Ramsayev from Bern University. We have conducted a large-scale international study, videotaping coaching engagements over time, looking into the change process of clients, surveying also the clients 24 hours within each session, and then also receiving feedback from the coaches about their perceptions about the processes that they were having in the coaching engagement. So what we are reflecting today is more about, is based on a piece of research. So that's where the wonderment and the beauty and the beast idea about being in the bubble comes from. Just to frame our mind and our dialogues around this piece of research. And should you have questions, of course, I'm happy to address those questions. So our next framing is just briefly to understand, so what is the definition that we arrived at after completing the research on presence that was actually looking into the energy in the room. So we videotaped the sessions. We did not look into the conversations between coach and client, so we absolutely do not know what the people were talking about. We analyzed the energy through their responsiveness to each other to arrive at a definition of presence which is actually a concise definition, just very lightly and a skimmed version of what actually the definition is. But basically it's especially also to analyze the tricky case of being in the bubble. So presence is understood as a dynamic process. So it's not just about the coach, it's a dynamic exchange of spontaneity and a responsiveness, like spontaneous responsiveness. It is about mutuality. That means that both, in this process, both coach and client self-regulate, which makes this process very complex, and that it is shaped by factors beyond the coach's capacity to be in the here and now alone. A second important element is that the capacity of sensing through the body seems to reduce reactivity and increase the spontaneous responsiveness when it comes to difficult moments or challenging moments in the coaching engagement. And last but not least, apparently, or we have come to define, that there is no one way of being present and no one way to practice presence. So allow yourself to take in this framing of presence as a definition, because now I would like to invite you to go into breakout rooms to, for 5 minutes, to reflect only one thing together. What is the beauty of being in the bubble? The positive factors, the elements, the qualities of being in the bubble. So Lucy, if you would kindly put the people into breakout rooms for me, that would be lovely. Lucy is gone. Or maybe...
I'm here. And they're self-assigned because we have people who might not be there, so they're
okay, yeah.
So I have 3 breakout rooms.
Yeah.
To move into, is that okay? Does that number work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's okay. And it's a very simple thing, just to reflect the beautiful elements, qualities, characteristics of being in the bubble, cocooning with the client. For 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, we've got people moving into them. That's good. So as before the breakout rooms, you can choose when you scroll down the window that opens.
No, thank you very much, Lucy.
You're welcome. Would you like me to close the breakout rooms, Tünde?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Lucy, would you mind signaling to me when people are back to the plenary?
I believe everyone's back.
Everyone's back. Okay, now let's do a second round. And now let's look into the beast of being in the bubble, again for 5 minutes, in breakout rooms. So what is the tricky thing? What is the beasty thing about being in the bubble? And I would like to go back to the definition, just for you to take another glimpse, because the question for the breakout rooms will be based on what you have heard so far, and this is really just a tiny glimpse, and based on the definition that I have shared so far with you, which questions would you ask yourself about the beastiness of, or the beastie characteristics of presence, especially in the coach-client relationship? Okay, Lucy, so another 5 minutes for people to go into breakout rooms, please.
There we go, they're open. So Tünde, I'll be closing the breakout rooms in about 30
Very good.
seconds.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Super.
And they'll have a minute to come back.
Okay. It's so funny. I cannot see if people are back, Lucy.
They are just coming back right now.
Okay. So it's difficult for me to see.
There we go. Everyone's back.
Okay, we are back. Okay, I would like to take 1 minute for you to share. Is there a question that you would like to share that you found out that you could reflect about the beast of being in the bubble, or something about this dichotomy of the beauty and the beast about being in the bubble?
I'm happy to share. I was thinking about the difference between perhaps being too cozy and, you know, that I'm talking as a coach, not a psychologist, I hasten to add, but from the point of view that as a coach, that ability to be more provocative, to have the zone of uncomfortable debate, to be able to challenge more. My sense as a coach is if it's too cozy, then you might miss some of that opportunity that could be the catalyst for change. So it's a question of finding a way in a safe space to still be able to challenge and provoke. That would be some of the differences I would see between being the positives and negatives almost.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something that showed in the research too, that because in the bubble, the sensing is, the capacity to sense is reduced because there is this bubble. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so let me share what I would like to actually call the giveaways in this very short encounter with you. The tricky qualities of being in the bubble. We have found in the research that there are several spheres that influence presence as a dynamic process between the coach and the client. So there is one thing, there is this element of the I, both as a coach and as a client. So what we found when I'm speaking about the I sphere is that the clients also play a big role in how the coaches are present. And coaches show up differently with each client in terms of how they are present. There is a certain thing that they are showing, expressing about themselves in the room that is visible in terms of energy in this I sphere, both when we're speaking about the coach and the client. The next thing that we could carve out in the research is that there is this relationality, the relational quality of presence. So the V sphere, which is the beauty actually in this in the bubble. So there is this need to tune in, this attunement, you know, sinking in with each other, and that shows in the in the research and the results. But there is also something else. So the beastly thing about being in the bubble is that when we're in a bubble, we do not pay attention to what might influence in terms of immediate environment. And the research has come to show that immediate environments, it can be factors like the organization in a particular coaching engagement, or it can be also just coaching as a setting that can influence how coach and client can be present with each other, because not all clients are ready. So paying attention to a lot of things like or the room, or the heat in the room, or the cold, the temperature in the room can play a role in how needs are impacted. And we have come to call them needs. So when we are expressing our energy, we're expressing our needs through how we are showing up with each other. And that's visible beyond words. And another beastly thing is that there's another sphere that we call omnisphere that seems to also show up in the quality of the presence in the coach-client relationship, and that's to do with philosophical perspectives in the relationship, or that the two individuals bring into the coaching group, or cultural differences, because the research was an international research, and we could find differences in how presence shows up based on cultural differences. So my giveaway to you, and you are free to take away or not, are 3 questions actually, for you to reflect when you're working with clients or with just having a conversation with anyone. What happens when the client or the other person that you're dealing with leaves the bubble that you have created with that particular person? And how responsive will the client or the person that you are interacting with will be to stress moments out there when they have left the in here, the space of the bubble? And how does the client or that other person that you're interacting with learn to self-regulate in the bubble to be effective out there? So these are the 3 questions that I would like to offer to give away for you to reflect when you are working with people, either as coaches or in any profession, when we are also in any conversation, that when we are building relationships and want to have effective relationships. So I would like to take a few minutes, because I think I do have 2 minutes time to invite you to reflect. So what is it that, from what you have heard, and it's really just a glimpse into what is really out there in terms of presence based on the research, what do you need to keep doing when it comes to being present? What do you need to stop doing when it comes to being present? And what do you need to start doing when it comes to being present? Just one moment. You feel free to share or not. Reflective questions also to as a giveaway for you. I'm happy to listen. Okay, many thanks. Being very mindful of the time and the next session coming on, Lucy. And Romy, thank you very much for the invitation. And thank you guys for engaging in the dialogue. I wish you a very nice conference for the rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've shared and the questions. There is a lot of reflection, and I think it's something we'll be, possibly mulling over and taking away with us and thinking about as we move through some of the situations you talked about. Thank you so much.